It looked like he was going to do it.
Says live on my end.
Yep. Now we're back. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties from the technical whiz kids behind social media streaming and the user, this schmuck. So we're gonna go right straight into New River. Okay, we're gonna do straight into the pickup wars, New River Slamfest. I will do a backup captains meeting, chaser meeting after this. After I let these guys go, they got to go to work tomorrow. And do the James River stuff update, and I'll just load that on to the Discord and to YouTube, so we don't have to start completely over. So, in case you missed it earlier, we're talking about our New River First Stop AOI Stage Series event on the New River, April 4th and 5th. We have both our winners. Thankfully, we've got both our winners with us tonight, and we'll see if anyone else jumps in a little later on. But we've got Mr. Ben Caldwell, who won our Friday Pickup Wars event with 94.75, crazy 94.75 inches on Friday. And then we have Mr. Troy Wines, who won on Saturday with 95 inches. So as I said before, if you aren't, I apologize for the technical issues. Pickup Wars is kind of our pre-fishing event that we're going to try and do. Our next one we are going to do before the Shenandoah River event. So we will not do Pickup Wars this weekend coming up for the James River. It will just be Saturday's event. But basically, it's just like a pickup basketball game. Guys get together. We're already fishing. Usually most series allow fishing until 4, 5, or 6 o'clock the night before an actual event. Since everybody's going to be out on the water, we want to have an event for them to be able to log their fish. And in the event of Ben, if he'd just have been, he caught 94.75 inches. If he'd have just been pre-fishing and not being able to put any of those fish anywhere, that would have kind of sucked. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, he caught a 21 smallmouth bass, and to not be able to score it anywhere, that would have kind of sucked, the day before an event. So that's kind of like what's behind it, because I've had a lot of people reach out to me from outside the area asking kind of like how it works, what it's all about, and hopefully they'll apply it to their own series back where they live. But if you got guys all pre-fishing, there's a skill to this. We'll talk about it with the guys here in a second. You can blow your fish up. You can. I personally feel like rivers reload. I think because we got really great rivers. I don't think lakes and reservoirs are that way, so I don't know if that's exactly if you want to go and pull 94.75 inches out of your lake or reservoir, the day before in a tournament. I don't know, because I'm not a big lake guy. But I know rivers can reload. So, but there is some strategy to it in terms of where you fish during pre-fishing and then where you fish during the event, the main event on Saturday. So, right, so I got Troy Wines, and start with Ben. Ben, been a while since you've been on a stream, I think.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself to everybody. You can provide whatever information you want to provide about your background, what you're running. You got a killer rig, like what you're running, all that good stuff.
I use a Jackson Coosa FD. I'm working on getting a motor on it now, but it's probably going to be a while, but that's going to be pretty cool when I can get that going. But I've been fishing with you guys, started last year and did most of the trail and really, really enjoyed it and learned a ton. And that's pretty much the only reason I'm here, is just to learn and have a lot of fun. So what I've been doing.
If you look at like your, if you go back and look at your trajectory for the last year, towards the end of last year was like night and day, right? Like you were catching bigger fish.
Yeah, it was.
Last fall. It was not a shock. I don't think it was, like I was talking with Adam White, it was not a shock for us that you dropped the bag you dropped like on Friday. Because I told you, he has been that natural progression of figuring out, some of the different river systems. I think so. I don't know. Would you classify the New River? Someone asked me the other day. I don't classify the New River as your home river, is it?
It is, Now it hasn't always been, but I'm in Christiansburg right now, so it is my closest river now. But it used to be kind of a tie between the Stanton and the James for the majority of my life. So, but pretty much just Southwest Virginia.
I remember the beginning of last season. It seemed like you were Stanton, Roanoke River. Like if you were just going out fishing.
Yeah.
Like
Actually,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I haven't been to the Stanton in a long time. Actually, like I said, that's kind of where I learned to do it, and they've got ramps there now that were not there the last time I was there. We was putting in at the dam, and it was like a nightmare getting a canoe over the hill there last time I was there. But it was years ago. So
I looked at some of the ramps, man. It's 24 miles between ramps. That river, I was just like,
yeah, that place is
crazy.
Scarce.
Troy's fished it now. Troy's fished it, so he knows all those rivers down there really well. What I thought was pretty cool. I didn't realize it at first, but it was pointed out to me that like last year, we had what I would classify as a local anglers kind of like dominate the New River events. You know what I mean? And so the first, second, and third, I think, came from Blacksburg, Parrott, Dublin, right? Like, you know what I mean? That called New River their home river. And Friday, Ben, you won on Friday. I was thinking you were Roanoke and Stanton was your home river, not the New River really. And then obviously Troy, everyone knows Troy, James River is his home river. So it was really cool to have two guys that, most of us didn't perceive as being local to go down and put up 94.75 and Troy put up 95. I thought that was, I didn't even realize it at the time until a couple of days after when someone pointed out to me. I was like, I didn't even think about it. Like, because all of us compete. A lot of us compete in the same events against each other. So you just don't really think about it. You know what I mean? Like who's from there? You guys go to all the events pretty much. So it's tough to get confused and remember where people like to fish when they're just fishing alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you got to go one-on-one with your dad, I don't really know if I want to do that. Because your dad can put up some bags. You know what I mean?
The weekend before the he put up a huge one.
Hey Troy, so you finished in third.
Yep.
Walk everybody through that mindset. Like I'm this stuff's intriguing to me because it's like, most of us, not many in our community have gone on to fish like bigger 2-day events like Bassmaster or Hoagie 2-day events. Most people, they haven't done that. So like, how do you approach it? Like when you were fishing on Friday, knowing the AOI State Series was the next day, right?
Yeah.
Like how did you when you thought about it? Because the New River's not your home river. You don't fish it every day or every week. You know what I mean? It's a 2+ hour drive or whatever it is from where you are to get to a lot of these places. Like I said before in a previous video, it's like there's not a lot of ramps. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's isn't like compared to the James River and my river. My river's got freaking access like every freaking 4 miles. It seems like, how do you like approach that? Like,
well, I came down a week before and I pre-fished where I was going to pre-fish for the Angler of the Year, stage because I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to do. So I just took the opportunity to go out and try some different water. I went to 3 different spots on the New River, put in, me, I do everything the hard way. So I paddled, 3 miles down and 3 miles back up. And I just took that advantage to go hit 3 different boat ramps. And also too, it kind of gauged me on what the fish were doing as well, like where I was seeing bait at, seeing where if the river was higher. And I noticed in both locations I went to, one area the river level was really low, and then the other one, the river area was really high. So I just kind of used that as kind of a, my pre-fishing just to knock some of the rust off, because all my work and all my hard work to get back was to come down here. It was for Saturday, that started in the off season because, last year when I come down there, the first term of the year, I kind of, crapped the bed and slipping in the river, catching one fish and, I stayed as long as I could.
Which event last year? Was it that event you caught your citation in?
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I
had
did
your
not catch a
spill,
sight.
right?
No. I had that event down there. I only caught one fish last year, so I was determined to come back. In our first event and get back to the bassing around ways, as I want to call it. So,
Right.
which we'll get into that
I
after
mean,
that.
yeah.
So,
I mean, it was kind of interesting to see Friday and Saturday set up.
yeah.
I mean, because we were like. We're a week later this year than we were down there last year. Last year we were down there on
hmm
March 30th. Okay, and then this
Yep.
weekend we're the first week of April. So not really much, but this has been the first time that we really visited. Since early fall, the new river, and a lot of things had changed. Like the campground was I mean, everything changed down there because of Helene and impacts of all that. And so what did you feel that like any kind of like any differences in things in the stretches that you guys fished with coming back this year in terms of, I know it, to me, the water was kind of wonk 2 days, clear and then cloudier, then clear again, depending on where you were.
Yeah.
What did you guys see? What did you guys see on that from Friday to Saturday?
You want to go ahead, Troy?
What I saw as far as, we had that late tournament down there in November and all that stuff like that. So, nothing really changed for me on where I went and fished at on Friday. It was, I already knew I knew where I was going on that Friday. I remember where I saw big fish. But there is a lot of structure that has been, washed down again from other
Yeah.
floodings and stuff like that. But where I fished at on Saturday, nothing's really to me has changed too much outside of some structure been moved. That was the first time I've been back there since the massive hurricane that went through there. And then of course I don't have much flood they got like we did down here on the James back in, I guess, late February, where we went up to
Yeah.
24 feet. It was some trees missing down there, but other than that, I kind of fished it how I did in November when we had our last tournament. Late October, November, whenever it was. That's how I did. So I didn't notice too much of a difference.
Ben, how about you?
Both the stretches that I fished had actually been close to a year or so that I'd fished them. The one that I actually fished Friday was the same stretch I'd fished the previous March, and I hadn't been there since then. And the one we fished Saturday, I think it was the previous summer I had been. So, yeah, like Troy said, everything on the banks are destroyed. But, as far as the river goes, it looks like it's fishing better than ever, to what I can tell. So,
Yeah, I mean, it always seems and you can look at it when you talk to people that'll give you whatever information they want to give you, and plus when you look at where fish get caught and stuff, it seems like a lot of those sections and stretches have all been like middle river fish. You know what I mean? There's been the outliers on the banks because it's March. You know what I mean? The water temperature, I think the water temperature might have been warmer than last year. Do you think, Troy?
It was. Oh,
Yeah,
it definitely was.
I mean, I definitely think it was warmer than last March.
Yep.
But I personally, being out Friday, I didn't see any. I mean, I know Jason did. He brought some back, to show us. I didn't see any crawl. I didn't see any bait fish where I was. Okay, and that was that Burton section to McCoy's Falls. I didn't see any.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't see anything. But Jason brought back some dead crawl, and Adam had said he saw some crawl on the opposite bank. But I mean, last year, obviously June was different than March, obviously. But I remember in March of last year seeing it,
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, I wonder if this is an impact of, stuff getting completely pushed down river, in that regard, or the habitat changing. Because I personally did notice where I was. I did put out a video on YouTube on my personal page. The composition was a lot different below New River Junction, than it was last year. Like stuff came down from Radford, from the dam, and then kind of just because the way the river turns right there, it just kind of just pushed up against, you know what I mean? And so that area was really shallow because it really was all like soft bottom composition. Because I got out of the kayak and I was like, whoa, I dropped my foot went down like this much. It was just sand and soft. And I think it just got pushed completely to that side of the river. And so that side of the river was completely just shit. And I had caught fish there last year. and it was a totally different spot.
Yep.
But I didn't go above the bend. I didn't go towards Parrot. I didn't, to see like what the changes were down towards, the loop and down towards Radford. But I just kind of figured that it would set up. It was amazing to me that like the number of fish, even on Friday, Ben, I think you had 9 fish. I think you caught, or you registered 9. I think you might have caught more than that.
Yeah, I think it was about 9 or 10 fish.
Yeah, I mean, we had 8 guys fishing that pickup wars, and we caught like 40 fish. Like, you know what I mean? And like, if you go back to last March, we had 23 guys fishing in that event last March, and I think we only caught like 54 fish. You know what I mean?
That's tough.
And so this year we had 16, 17 guys and caught way more fish. Like, So that's why I was like, whoa. Like, the weather was nicer, warmer. Water was a little warmer.
No wind.
And no wind. Right?
Just a little wind. Just a little,
It was really bad last year.
And then I think we had one this time around. I think we had one. I think we had 2. We have 3. We had 2 citations caught on Friday. Obviously, Ben's 21. And Todd Cox caught a 21 2.5. And then on Saturday, I think we had 3. I think we had 3 citations on Saturday. And last year, I think we had 4. Because I know Kevin, Thomas, Adam, and Tyler. Or no, Troy, didn't you catch? I could have sworn you caught one.
I did not catch a I caught a citation in June on the new.
That's what it is. Okay, you caught one in June.
Yeah.
The last, that was a, we definitely caught a lot more fish in June than we did in March. In that event, I think we scored 150 fish on the New River in June for sure. But apples to apples, we definitely caught more fish this go around. And so Troy had 95 inches, 7. You caught more than 7 though, right? Like I don't think.
Yeah. I caught more than 7. I just couldn't get the stinking things to load, so I just gave up. I
remember you loaded a lot more in the teams division.
Yeah.
You loaded most of your fish in the teams division.
Yep.
So Troy caught 95 inches. He had a 20.5. Another citation. That is number.
That was number, what was that? That was number 94 because I just caught 95 on Monday, and I think we had, 4 to go? So.
Damn. And then and then here's the thing. That's setting up sweet for this weekend.
I'm sorry. That was number 95. I caught 96 on Monday, so we got 4 to go.
You need to get that 5 citation bag limit on the James River on Saturday, and then you got your century belt. So 20.5, 19.5, 19.25, 18.75, and 17. Second place on Saturday was Todd Cox, your teammate. In the teams division, you guys won the team division, the first team event of the year. Todd had a citation and then a 19.5, an 18.75, an 18, and a 16.75, and another 18, for 93 inches. Amos Hicks from West Virginia, he finished in 3rd with 87.50. Tony Bryant in 4th with 86.25. Thomas Godby had a 20.75, which I believe was the big fish.
That was big fish. Shout out to Thomas and catching that big fish.
Yeah, that was a beat. 80. He had finished with 83 inches. Mike at 82.5. Ben finished in 7th with 80.5. So, Ben, Friday to Saturday. Have at it. Let's hear it.
So, Friday.
Did you go to the same place, or did you go to somewhere completely different?
So, my teammate and I was discussed for Saturday which stretch we was wanting to fish. And Friday, I fished above that, and he fished below that, thinking we kind of see what was going on in the middle there. And then, but after Friday evening, we was talking, and we came real close to doing the same float again. And I was like, I don't know. We just decided let's just stick with the plan and go where we wanted to go Saturday. And so I don't know. I should have done it again done it again Saturday.
It's easy to say that now. Easy for the guy showing fish to be like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there waiting. I'm waiting at the end, about halfway through the afternoon. I'm like, I'm thinking there's going to be some more fish coming on through here. Like, but again, those are decisions you make with your teammate, right? Team's division. Plus you've got, you were in a really good spot the day before. The one really thing I will say this that really surprised me, and I think it really impressed. And I remember telling the guys on Friday night, really, really impressed me about the guys in the community, and that we all know there are spots that everybody knows about, right? That are community spots that everybody knows about. And on Friday, it was like virtually nobody was there. Like everybody went out to find new water on Friday. I was surprised. I was very, very surprised. I was like, wow, where is that? Because everything picks up a tower on some strange place. And I'm like, I don't even know where that place is. And so that's what I thought was really, really great is guys took advantage of Friday to go out and find potentially new areas, to fish for Saturday instead to see if they could find, a new honey spot, as opposed to just defaulting to the same spot over and over and over again, which most of us all know hold fish. So I thought that was really pretty cool. When people going out, and it looked like a lot of people did. On Friday, in terms of bags, most people had a limit. I think with the exception of 2. And then, on Saturday, I think we had 10 or 11 limits. But I will say this. When you guys got out there, let me ask you this. When you guys got out there, because you guys both fished Friday, when you guys got out there Saturday morning, what did you guys think? Did you guys see the same thing that I saw?
The water, did it come up a little bit?
Yeah, it had come up way up a little. I put Friday afternoon at 4:00, I put a rock down where I was, and I was like, Jason had gone up to get coffee up on the hill, up on the mountain, and I walked down to the river. It was 5:00. And I was like, that thing was completely covered. I was like, whoa, it went, and I was like, what? I was just like, it sprinkled a little bit in the overnight, but I was just kind of like, this is going to get real interesting.
When I launched and I pulled out of there at 6:30, and I couldn't see the water because it was still dark. And I figured I was going to bump a bunch of things going up the river and all the stuff like that, because I'm the only guy that doesn't have a motor on his back of his kayak, because I do everything the hard way.
Right.
So I'm cruising along, and I'm like, damn, I ain't hit the first rock, and I'm going on up. I said, this baby is done rose overnight, and it had color on it too. And when it had that color on it, I said, I said, because down here on the James River and a few other rivers, we know how to dirty water fish. And so I ended up clipping everything that I had on and changed up my baits really fast to get my hands on them, because I didn't know how long we was going to have that high water, and I didn't know how long we was going to have that stain, because when I did pre-fish down there that Friday, it was clear, and I saw a lot of bass, and they saw me. So that's what I'm saying. So I went ahead and took that dirty water, and I just changed it up. And so when I got on my spot that I wanted to get to, I was kind of stunned at first, because I didn't catch anything where I knew they should have been sitting at. So I kind of panicked just for a second or whatever. I'm like, all right, smack myself a little bit, get regrouped. All right, let's go James River fish this new river. It's dirty. Let's do this and do this. And that's when I pulled up. And the first when I got over and I threw something and I saw some bait jump, I said, I said, game on. That's when I busted at 19 and a half, and then I turned around and busted at 20 and a half back to back. And I'm like, we're going to have a good day if we just run it. And basically that's all I would just use that high water and that stain, because once that water dropped and the stain went away, it got clear. And for me, the fishing bite disappeared. So I could have put my kayak bin back on my truck by 9 o'clock, because I had 95 inches by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I went back out.
Yeah,
that was probably by the time when I left the bank, it was probably 6:30. So I went back. I didn't go back to that spot till lunchtime. Walked back down to that spot, And sure enough, that rock was sicking straight up again. Like it was like the water had risen, and then by lunchtime on Saturday, it had fallen back down just as fast. And I was just like, I mean, it looked completely different from being there on Friday. Because if you come around that bend from Parrott towards New River, down towards McCoy Falls, it gets really shallow at that bend. Okay, when it turns to make that dog leg, it gets really shallow, and then it kind of opens up, and there's basically like 3 trench lines that run, probably 40 yards from the bank, and then 60 yards from the bank, and then I don't ever go to the other side. But it's like they're basically 4 foot, 3.5 to 4 foot Trent line that run, and then you got rocks at the top. So you could you could basically be 50, 60 yards out in the middle of the river, standing in 3 inches of water. And then you've got a 4 foot trench line, right? That runs for 25 or 30 yards. And that's how I was on Friday. I mean, the guys were on the other side of the bank, and I was just freaking wade fishing out there on Friday in that trench line. And it was amazing to me, like, that's like they were nowhere else. Like everything came in like a runway. And I could watch guys out in front of me all day long. The 4 guys that were fishing, within eyesight, 150, 200 yards each way, all of them were aligned in those same like lanes. Like you could just see them. You could just see them. They were either pointed upriver or they were going downriver. But you could just see they were all kind of in that same, as the terrain, changed with the mountains as it winds through there. It just seems like that's where they were, especially like you said, after like 10 o'clock in the morning. Then the bite got stingy. Like, I think James stayed out there for like in the same 25 to like 40 yard area for like 4.5 hours straight. Like he just picked it apart. Like he didn't move. I saw him all day. I mean, I saw him all day from the cabin. I had the cabin door open. I could see him all day long, working that stretch. And he caught.
I did more hunting. You seen where I submitted my fish at? I was everywhere up and down the river, back and forth. So I went on the chase. I went on the hunt for them, and like I said, that's what I was able to do to be successful. Because like I say, they was not in the spots that I thought that they would be at where I've had success for in the past. So I was just like say I was just through the roof. And even lost a decent one, maybe been bigger than the one that I had as well. So they were, and also too, they were that morning. Well, the smallmouth were actually chasing bait versus where maybe in the afternoon, if I stayed more hole fishing and anchored down or something like that, I maybe would have got a bite or whatever. But that morning they were definitely out chasing.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about Friday. I mean, you guys know me. I'm always starting with the bladed underspin. And they just freaking crushed that on the New River. It doesn't matter. Every time I've been down there with you guys, and every time I've ever been down there, it's like they can't lay off that freaking bait. Like it's just like I don't really know if it's the flash. I don't know if it's just moving. I don't know if it's just the right. It's from Thomas Custom Lures, the right compact size. I don't know what it is. And Melissa's natural series, they just can't lay off that thing. And like I was telling Adam, I was like, I can come down here with 3 baits because I was like his bait from a hookup tackle. That's a little like, I don't know if I have it out here. Oh, it's like similar to this right here. Okay. Like just stuff that he does. Like, it's like, I don't ever have to take it off if it keeps catching fish. Like, you know what I mean? I go 3 hours in that place. You're catching so many fish a lot of times. Now, mind you, they're not like, you guys are catching 19s and 20s. And I'm talking about 14, 15s, and 16s in terms of quantity. Yeah. But it's like you're almost afraid to change out. You know what I mean? Like Troy, I know you're not afraid. Like you'll just freaking change out and go. Me, I'm like, if you're catching fish, it's like I don't want. They're biting this bait, so there's got to be a big one somewhere.
I brought 9 rods. I'm only through 2, so I'm like you. I brought 9.
I'm like, I seriously could have gotten away with like just taking like 4 or 5 baits and been fine. Adam. Last year, he caught a citation again right there in front of the campground. And then this year, he was on the opposite side of the river, and I was on like in the campground area. And Jason was like to his right. James was in between me and Adam, and Adam just landed a freaking beast. I mean, I could see it from where I was. how big that fish was. It was every bit of 21. Like it was every bit. And he had it until he didn't. Like it was like, I think it smacked the boat. And when it smacked, boom, gone. And I could hear, I said, oh my God, I'm going to hear this story for the rest of my life. And
when I got mine in the net,
I got
mine in the net Friday, the lure fell out of his mouth, and I about fainted in the boat. I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
Never underestimate a good net. Like, you know what I mean? That's what it is, man. It's like, you know, I think everybody's been there trying to balance that whole. I mean, I know guys that tell me all the time, it's like, you're crazy using a net. Like they just refuse to use nets. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it is. It's like, you know, I'm a lefty, so it's awkward. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because I want to hold I want to keep the fish with my left hand. You know what I mean? Like, because that's my strong arm. That's my pitching arm. That's my strong arm. But at the same time, it needs to be the other way. It's the net. You know what I mean? That you want a good hold on to get up underneath it. And it's always a battle. But yeah, I heard that all the way across the river.
Sure you did.
I thought he was screaming in celebration and jubilation, but he was really screaming in terms of angst. And then Jason behind him was like he knew it, like as he saw it, like on that side. But there's just monsters there, man. Like I don't know any other way to explain it. And it's weird. It's like Troy. It's like you said, man. Like where Adam caught his citation last year, it's like not a place that you would like. What was it doing there? Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like that's some, you know. And I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason a lot to it.
Every fish I caught on Saturday was from a different spot. I never caught a fish yet. Fishing at one area before, because I just, you know, I end up just James River fishing it and checking different spots out, and that's where I was finding fish. But I literally caught fish in spots I never have even attempted to fish at before, because I had no clue where they were at when my other spots wasn't there. So,
what do you?
Same way.
So you had Troy. You had 95 inches on the New River.
Yep.
On Saturday. What do you realistically think, you know, guys are capable of catching on the James River this Saturday? Given the conditions that we know exist today.
Well, the problem that I see on the James River, and I think it's going to probably be in the 80 inches, maybe the higher upper 80s is going to win it. Right now, there is 2 dams that are pretty much out of commission right now because of the pump houses are damaged, and so there's either no water coming over some dams at all, and I'm going to tell you, we have a lot of I don't know how much Ben fishes the James River, but I fished all the way from up in Arcadia all the way down here to Mount Athos already. And the structure that used to be there is gone. I mean, it is gone. It is moved. It is up on the banks on every portion of the James that I go see, logs and the tree stuff. So I finally got probably my best bite on Monday pre-fishing. I went to 3 different areas, checking out some different areas where I want to fish at. But I think that it's definitely not probably going to be a New River number right yet. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would think that it's probably looking at the same like last year what Thomas did. You know, I think
he had 88,
Thomas
right?
Yeah, Thomas had 88. Chris had, I think, right at 87. I was right there behind him in third. But and I believe, and I think it's going to be in that high 80s if I had to take a guess. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Now, to tell you this, I did find water temps 68 all the way up to 70 degrees. So that's good news, because if you see me fishing in shorts, I'm a happy man.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you were talking about all that structure, all that got pushed from west of Lynchburg down to the city, right?
Well, it used to be everywhere from all the way up past Balcony Falls. All that structure there has got pushed down. I'll tell you this right now. I'm not going to say what dam it is, but we had a tree set up on a dam that we used to catfish at, and we screwed in a little screw in there. Brownie, you know this. And we used to tether our kayaks there and sit on it, and we'd catfish off each side.
Nice.
That tree is now 2 dams down the river.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so that's how that when that water got up to 24.4, that's how
Yeah.
bad it messed up the James. And I'm gonna tell you, hopefully we're gonna have a good day, but but I've been struggling. I ain't gonna lie to you.
If you're watching this and you're not familiar with what we're talking about, just Google Earth the James River west of Lynchburg,
Yeah.
and you'll see dam after dam after dam after dam, and you'll get an idea of what we're talking about.
I'm
Because
telling you,
it does get rather like crazy.
the thing that makes me mad is you can't even look at the river flow app and get a correct reading of how that water is right now, because right now the other day it was saying Balcony Falls was running high water. Well, if you go anything you look down below there, it's all low. And I'm like, how's it
Right.
running high water? Yeah, I mean it's not even accurate on there. It's not. And then if you get down towards Joshua Falls and stuff like that way, it's really low. So like I say, it's been very frustrating. Hopefully they're going to get these dams back up, pump houses back up and running, so they get a better flow going over. But I think the smallmouth have went deep, and especially the big females. I know it should be right at time for them, but those big females are hiding. They're not ready to
Yeah, I mean,
come up
I've
yet.
said this before in the Bassathon video. Like, it's just
Yeah.
all the guys. I mean, a lot of the largemouth guys that I talk to, they're frustrated because it's like we're almost the end of April, and and usually by now, like most of the largemouth have either begun to spawn or have already spawned. Typically,
Look at that 20 I submit. Look at that 20 I submitted
and
the
I'm
other night.
like,
It was just
they're
wrong.
like, yeah,
It was
it's
just
not
wrong.
happening. And
Yeah.
I said, well, we had, we had 3 years of really mild winters, and then we just had by our standards, a very cold and snowy, wet winter, right? By our standards. So it's like, I just think that's where we're at. It's like everything's 2 or 3 weeks behind.
Yeah. And
Now,
Ben, I'll tell you,
that,
make
after
sure you measure. I was going to tell Ben, make sure you measure every fish that are out there on the James, because the other day when I was measuring fish, I'm like, this thing looks like it's 16 inches. It was so skinny, it was 18 inches.
No
And I'm
way.
like, what in the world? Yeah, I mean, and look at my last post and see how skinny those fish are. I had a 19 one, and then one that was 19 inches long. I literally thought it was about 17. I put it on the board. It was so skinny, it reached to 19 inches. I said, what in the world? So
and you go and look, if you go and look at the monthly. Go and look at the monthlies and the American Chase Division, and also the monthlies, and look at some of these short, fat, man. I mean, they're like 16 inches, but they're like freaking footballs. It's like, and those are being caught in Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's, I don't know, man. It's like everything's kind of off a little bit, like, based on the calendar, based on the calendar. That's why I think that, who knows what's going to happen on that for Bassathon, but I said that initially. I thought that was going to be a heavy, like a really small event. You know what I mean? Like could take care of business. But if the bass are going to be spawning on all those lakes, you know what I mean? First week of May, which is late for them, then who knows what's going to happen? Like they're going to have a lot of big green fish being put on the board.
Well, let me drop something to you real quick. The white bass and striper are really, really running, so I'm hoping it gives a lot of people a hard time.
No joke, man. When that run, bugs and like, I'm just saying, it's just like that place is massive, and so if you're gonna go lake fishing, good luck. And then
walleye. And then walleye are everywhere now. I mean,
it is a massive, massive lake. And so, and probably like it's one of those hit or miss places because I've had people reach out to me and I'm just like, look, man, it's like Smith Mountain Lake. It's like you get on them, but that girl can be stingy. Like like I don't know what to tell you. You can get skunked easy. Really, it's a lot of water, but you can still get skunked. Like, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna stay at river. Stay in the rivers,
Real curious to see where the winners are fishing at for that one.
Yeah, I mean, what part of Staunton River, depending on where you live, thanks. It's like west of 95, east of 95. It's just like a totally different dialect. What part of that did you grow up fishing?
Around the Alta Vista area is where I is where I was fishing it back then. But like I said, it's been a long time. So I was kind of interested in maybe doing your tournament on the 3rd. I'm not real sure yet, but just to go and do it again because it's been a long time. So
Yeah, it looks like there's some interesting floats for sure. You know what I mean? In all those rivers. I mean, I haven't fished in a long time, and I've never fished the Dan. Like I've never ever was never on my radar growing up. But you know, the Roanoke River, the Stanton River, obviously anything a little west of Richmond where I was, you know, we always kind of hit. Always talk to people who had fished those rivers, but you know, the Dan was way away, right? Like, but it's going to be interesting to check out during that event. I think.
People don't think of the Dan as a smallmouth place. I've caught smallmouth bass in Danville, Virginia before. I mean, they're there. They're not plentiful, but they're there.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people think there are like really big ones there. Like, you know, I just think that like you know that river probably like, you know, as it empties into bugs, but I mean goes back. I mean, it gets real wide. Like it reminds me. I mean, it's just real wide. You know what I mean? Like it's like you know what I mean. It's almost like a coastal like river, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
muddy.
now you would think as an inland river that you
It's
know
muddy.
Yeah, it's massive, and you know, so definitely going to be a lot. You know, definitely a lot different than fishing the New or the Shenandoah. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like in terms of like Troy's saying about applying James River tactics to like you know the New River and how to approach it. But I think it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of people are going to be stacked up on those lakes. You know, I don't know what the weather's going to be like in 2 weeks, but you know, with Briery, Hyco, Mayo, I think is another one. After Bay Reservoir, I think in North Carolina, there's some definitely really good largemouth water. That if you're a largemouth guy, you know, you're probably not even thinking twice about the river, right? Like you're just because they're smaller rivers. Like you know, I mean, there's largemouth in them, you know, for sure. But
that's gonna be the biggest key for me is not throwing a spot back, not throwing a largemouth back. You know what I mean? Because
for
where I
Bassathon,
plan on, because where I've caught fish at before, I'm like, oh damn, there's a damn spot. But this time, I'm gonna actually put a little note on the front of my board as a reminder: do not throw the green fish back. So,
right? Ben caught like a 23.
Yeah, that thing, whatever that world that thing was, the alien white bass.
I sent it to the state. I'm assuming it was a white bass.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be curious to know what they say back. I have no idea. I don't know. I call it a striper.
It wasn't a striper, like, but it was like a hybrid. It was a hybrid of something.
Yeah. Once you guys said
it had that head and jawline of a white bass, but that thing was freaking crazy. Like,
So like we was talking about earlier, Friday afternoon when I had went back, I only fished Friday, like for the tournament Friday. I was fished from like 8 to noon, a little bit after, maybe 1, a little bit after. When I went back to my truck and I met up with a different buddy of mine for like a second float, the river was spiking. It was just flat, like holy cow, spiking. And I was like, oh, I mean, we can try it, man. So we went out there, and it was a nightmare. But yeah, that guy he hit, and he was watching me. He's like, that's a big one, man. I'm like, this ain't a smallmouth, man. He's I don't know what I got, but it's definitely not a small.
I don't care. Like that thing was just.
Oh, it was fun.
That thing was just
fun,
crazy. On that, but when I saw that, I saw your 23. Okay. So for all you guys who don't know, like when you're a judge and you see something like that, I mean, you get your blood boiling. Like you're like a 23, like something. You know, and I wasn't even thinking like alternative species, right? Because a lot of guys will submit their catfish and have it say smallmouth, right? So I got to change, but I'm like for the alternative species pot. But I saw 23 inches. I was like, holy shit. Like, no way. And I was like, and then I look at the picture and I was like, oh, he's messing with me. He's messing with me. And I was like, oh, wait, no, he's in the side pot. That's a side pot thing. I was just like, you know.
I didn't know what else to put. So
Adam White had that happen to him on the Shenandoah last year. He caught like a 21-inch ball fish or something like that.
Yeah, I was looking when he caught it. That was wild. I
was like, these out of nowhere, you're like random. Like, you know, you never know what's going to be on the other end of that freaking line. Like it
exactly.
You know, I was telling the guys, like, you're standing there. You could be standing there in a New River, man, and especially in March, not as much after March, but like January, February, March, when we're there, like we were there early April, obviously. And muskies, man, they just do not care. Like you could be wade fishing right there, you know, in like 2 feet of water and just trying to hit that, and they'll go right by you and like look at you and like not care at all. Like it's like, you know, it's just like it's the craziest thing. And you see them coming right at you, right? When the water's clear, and then they just go right on by you. It's like they don't pay you no mind at all. It's like, you know, they want nothing to do with your bait, and they want nothing to do with you. Like it's like, and they just keep on going. And it's
every
just
year you float over a muskie the size of your kayak every once in a while in the New River, and you're just like, dude, why aren't you going somewhere? You know, like that they don't care. You can care less about.
I mean, the only thing, it's been a long time, but the only thing that I can even like equate that to is James River, like when there used to be a lot more sturgeon down below in the James River. I don't know if there's as many as there used to be like 25, 30 years ago, but they were the same way. You could be out there, and those are massive. Those are massive fish. You know, they're 50 years old, 60 years old, whatever, and they're just slow, like don't care. Never going to take a bait from any. Like I don't even know how they survive, what they eat, because they don't. I never hear anybody catching, like, you know, by accident. There are people who fish for that species, obviously. But yeah, it's just a ton of fun. I have no idea what to. I kind of know what to expect, you know, for this weekend, just because we fished the James River so many times, all of us. You know what I mean? But that Bassathon event, man, it's kind of up in the air, man. I know there's some heavy hitters coming down to fish that event that are really good greenfish guys. And then obviously you've got some of our guys in Troy that freaking know where freaking smallmouth live. And so it's gonna be fun to watch. You know, it pan out. But
really,
I will say this, Troy. I don't know. I can't remember who this was, and I don't want to drop you know, content creator names, you know, YouTube creator bashing. I did see this video, and I thought of you because it basically said the 5 worst brands of kayaks.
Yeah.
And they had our freaking beloved Hoodoo listed as one of the 5 worst brands. And I was like, okay, I don't know who's putting this video out, but these people have obviously not run a Hoodoo kayak on a river. And I was like, I meant to send it to you because I was just like, nothing that was being said was even remotely accurate. How Hoodoos perform in skinny water. Like, I'm not saying you should take the Hoodoo on Lake Erie. Okay. Yeah. But I'm saying on skinny inland river systems that are 2 feet or less, I mean, they're hard to beat. You know what I mean? Yep. And yours, one of the best there is. You know, but it was so funny because I've actually run two of the kayaks that guy listed in his video. I was like an Ascend, I run an Ascend, and I run a Hoodoo before. So I was kind of like, well, damn. I guess I'm a shitty consumer buying the wrong kinds of kayaks. But I was just kind of like, but what the Ascend, I kind of agreed a little bit because it doesn't really feel very stable. I will agree with that. Okay. But what was said about the Hoodoo, I just thought of you completely because I was like, this doesn't make absolutely any sense.
No, I love my Hoodoo. So I mean,
you do not have to put a motor on that thing.
No. I mean, it's you go to the gym. That's your motor. So go to the gym. That's your motor.
Yeah, I mean,
I
mean that's crazy.
Yeah,
you got Troy. You got fans in the chat that I completely missed.
Oh yeah, I've seen a bunch of them in there. I messaged everybody to get on there. So
I didn't even know there was a chat.
Well, it was a chat. Well, look, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody because
man, we're going to roll out of here. I appreciate you guys. I apologize for the technical.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome, man. Thanks you guys for sticking out, sticking with me. I'll figure this new platform they got rolling on this thing now. They changed all this stuff. I don't know what's on with that. So we'll figure that out. And for the James River recap, hopefully we'll see you, Ben. Hopefully I don't think you're fishing Saturday. You're working, right? Or you're not fishing with us Saturday, right?
Yeah, no, wedding anniversary this weekend, so I'm going to try to catch up with you guys. Like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, if I'm going to come and fish the Stanton or the Three River with you guys or not. I'm not real sure, so, but we'll see. I might do it.
Keep an eye on it, man. I think we're all going to be watching the weather. I mean, for sure. You know what I mean? That's just what always happens, you know. Fortunately, we got some okay weather this weekend. I think we're going to be in the low 80s, a little bit of morning rain, which It was kind of cool.
Let's bring it.
And so hopefully next weekend we don't see for the river guys that want to fish the rivers. I'm hoping we don't get any heavy rain. The rivers have been pretty good, right? They've been pretty stable, right, Troy?
They are. I mean, the Stanton could go up a little bit and won't hurt.
Yeah.
So a lot of that's going to be whatever Leesville decides to push down. So
Right.
hopefully Leesville won't decide to mess that up for us too bad. But a little bit of rain won't hurt us, but as long as we don't get any big rain. But anyway, but thank you,
All
man.
right,
Thank
well,
you.
I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, both of you guys are qualified for the Hammers Cup. So just make sure that June 7th, put that on your calendar. Make sure you're at that event. There will be trophies. That's a shot. That's an inside joke.
It's arriving tomorrow.
Okay. Well, call me.
And I have the tracking, and I already have a note on the door says UPS man, you have my permission with the signature. It is arriving tomorrow.
I mean, that shit lost in the mail for 6 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a long. I mean, God bless you. That's all I can say. God bless you. Not everybody. You guys know as well as I do. Not everybody would have handled that situation as professionally and as maturely as you have on social media.
Yes,
I can tell you that right now. To wait 6 months for your trophy, like from a national series, that is crazy. Okay,
because
there's only going to be one. Okay, I'm not taking shots.
It's only going to be one ever champion in that smallmouth series, and
that's right.
and he fishes in this series, and so so we'll have it. We're gonna carry that trophy around like the Washington Capitals when they won that Stanley Cup.
You should have another. You should have another Lord Wines trophy coming, because I don't think anyone's going to beat that 23-inch smallmouth you got in that smallmouth.
The 23 quarter,
smallmouth legacy or smallmouth thing, for them. So, like, I mean, I don't see anybody beating that.
That thing was a dinosaur.
That's an overall donkey. Like, I'm just saying. Like, but all right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
See you guys next time.
Yep.
See you, Ben.
All right, man. Good talking.
Bass around, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. We'll see you.